Well, good morning. Happy Friday. And we're super excited to have as our guest today, Monique Bienvenue from Be Sweet Citrus. And I hope all of you are having a great day. It's a beautiful day up here near Sacramento and Winters, and sunny, a little bit windy still, but it's a beautiful spring day yet again. And although it's a little bit hard to tell between weekdays and weekends right now, it still is Friday, and it's great to be at the end of the week. We've had a great week. For those of you who've been part of this all week, we started out with Jenny Lester Moffat, who's Undersecretary of Agriculture. We moved on to Blake Carlson on Tuesday, who's a peach and stone fruit grower in Kingsburg. We, on Wednesday, visited with Deanna Van Claveren, who's owner of Generation Growers, a nursery operation in Turlock. And yesterday, we spent time with an avocado and citrus grower in Ventura, and Chris Sayer. And he was out in his orchard yesterday. So we've had a great week. And today, we are going to really focus in some more on leadership and workforce development skills and things that you need to get internships in the industry, because Monique is a specialist at that. So first, though, I'm going to start out with our usual, where we have everybody introduce themselves from across the state. And the question today is, what are you doing to stay connected to friends and or family, if family is far away and you're trying to stay connected right now? So I'm going to start. Mary Kimball, Executive Director of the Center for Land-Based Learning, and I'm here in Winters. And this morning, as an example, we did a Skype call, which I haven't used Skype for a while, with all of the members of my crew team. I row on a crew team in West Sacramento, and we did a coffee with the crew team at 6:30. So that was really fun to see everybody's faces. And so we'll go ahead and shift it to Dana.
Good morning. I'm Dana Baker, the Tehama County Farms Leadership Coordinator, and I'm coming from Red Bluff. This is Abigail, my almost 6-month-old. And to stay connected to friends during this time, I've kind of been taking advantage of that Marco Polo app. It's been great. I don't have much family close, so it's been fun to be able to stay connected and when everybody's available, because as you can imagine, with little ones, you're not necessarily able to make a certain time. So that works for my schedule. So it's been good.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana. Joseph.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Montoya. I am the Farms Leadership Coordinator for the Sacramento Valley, San Joaquin Valley, and North State. I live in Sacramento, and the way I'm staying in touch, just nothing more, very simple group chat. I mean, it's, binging all the time, but, it works. And, you get to it when you get to it, scroll, and that's it. That's what we're doing.
Awesome. And happy birthday. Today is Joseph's birthday. So
thank you.
Good morning. My name is Katie Wortman. I am the Central Valley Farms Leadership Coordinator, Fresno, Madera, Kings, and Tulare County. I have a bunch of different group chats with friends, family. I've been doing a lot more Zoom calls. The Marco Polo app is new to me also. And last night I actually Instagram video messaged with some of my family. We also have an Instagram group kind of chat that we send memes and whatnot. So just very, everything kind of technology based online.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you.
And Romy, you're up.
Good morning. My name is Romy Wattenberger. I'm the Kern County Coordinator down here in Bakersfield, California. Mine would be just FaceTime. I FaceTime my family in Texas, and that's just the way we connect with my friends in town. So it's easy.
Yep. Whatever works for you. That's great.
Hi, I'm Letty. I run the program in Monterey and Santa Cruz County. I have been staying connected with pretty much everything everyone was saying, the little video chats and everything, Marco Polo. But my favorite one really has been just doing real calls. I don't think I've that's not really something I've ever done. And it's been really great to hear the voice of some of my older mentors and friends.
Mm-hmm. Great. We're going back. We're using new technology, and we're using technology that's been around for a while. I love that. Okay, Monique, I would love to introduce you now, the Director of Communications from B Suite Citrus. And I just want to say thank you again for being here this morning. B Suite has been a long-time Farms Leadership Program partner and Farms Advanced partner. You guys have just been amazing to the Center for Land-Based Learning and the Farms program for many years. And I just would like to go ahead and have you introduce yourself and answer the same question, and then also talk about a little bit about yourself and the company, and give us an intro to B Suite.
Sure thing. Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for having me today. As you've noted, I am the Director of Communications for B Suite Citrus. We're located in Fowler, California, which is about 20 minutes south of Fresno on a good day. Now that the streets are empty, you can basically be there in about 15 minutes or so. But I am working from home, and I really appreciate this video call to answer the question that you guys were asking earlier in terms of how I keep touch. I'm from LA, so I've been doing this, how to keep in touch with your close friends and family, for a while now. And my favorite form of communication is going to sound so wild. I actually like snail mail, and it's kind of increased lately. I love getting mail. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And I find that a lot of my friends and family appreciate getting mail too. There's just something extra about taking time to write to someone a personalized message versus a text or an email. It's just a little bit more personal, a little bit more sentimental. So I've been trying to do that more often. But WhatsApp, Google Duo, and FaceTime are all great resources as well. My brother currently is in Kuwait, so that we actually talk frequently through the WhatsApp video call option, which is awesome. And for my close friends, we use Snapchat and send each other really, really long video messages about how we're, spending the hours within the day. Some of my close friends, they also work in the communications industry in just different sectors. And so it's really interesting to just hear from them and what they're doing and what I'm doing to keep the world of PR going. But as far as B Suite Citrus is concerned, we are a family-owned and operated company. We opened our doors in 1987, and originally we only worked with a handful of varieties, but today we grow, pack, and ship over 15 different citrus varieties throughout the year. Most citrus packing houses will only work, well, not only work, but they tend to focus on California's citrus domestic season, which usually lasts from about October into beginning of summer. But we operate year-round. We're fully functional. When California's domestic season is over, we then shift into our export season with Chile. So, I mean, things are happening regardless of the time of year, which is really awesome. And it's great to see how, just a few people came together to kind of build something, and it's just exploded into one of the largest exporters on the West Coast.
Yeah. And I definitely see your products in different stores. We can talk a little bit about all of some of the different products that you guys have and what the labels are. That's always, I always have that. I find it to be fun to track them down and then buy from farmers and companies that I know. So Monique, you have a really interesting story. Like you said, you are from Los Angeles, and you are not from agriculture at all. So I would love for you to talk about that. Like, how did you find your way? Obviously you were interested in marketing and PR, but how did you find your way to an agricultural company, and why has that been so, meaningful for you? Talk about a little bit about that process and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I will say I experienced a little bit of a culture shock moving from LA to the Central Valley. I always wanted to be a trainer growing up, specifically for horses. So when I did live in LA, I was a barn rat, as I was called often. I rode, and it was very big passion of mine. Horses are still one of my favorite animals to this day. So when I was applying for colleges, I only applied to a university that offered equine science as a major. So I was very focused in what I wanted to do. And, you know, it wasn't strange for me to think that that could be something to do full time. I have family members that are trainers and they're farriers. So, you know, it wasn't something that seemed outrageous. But I came here to Fresno. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. It's so hot. The triple digit weather really threw me for a curveball there. But actually I just kind of got more involved with the equine industry, and I learned that it just really wasn't for me. I enjoyed it, but it's something to do, you know, full time. It wasn't, but the passion wasn't there. And I think that when you think about your career and what you want to do with your life, the passion really has to be there. That's something that I tell people that are currently going to school at the moment. It's so important to do something that you're passionate about. And it wasn't until I participated in the 2010 Farm Bureau discussion meet in Monterey that all this came together. I only participated because I was trying to fulfill a requirement for hours. I had joined the Ag Ambassadors Club at Fresno State, and I did it because I didn't know anybody. And because equine science fell under the Jordan College of Agriculture, I was like, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to meet people. I don't know anybody. Everyone kind of had friends, and I was kind of the Lone Ranger, that weird girl from LA who wears skinny jeans to class. That was me. And so I participated thinking that it wouldn't, you know, be anything other than just me passing some time. But what happened was a lot of people came together. They talked about current ag policies, and the thing that kept coming up was like, you know, if people in the city wouldn't vote the way that they're voting, you know, then farmers wouldn't have such a hard time. And I was sitting there, and again, I was only maybe a few months into my new life in Fresno, and I was kind of a little offended. I was like, okay, well, the problem there is that people in the city are voting the way that they are because of the messaging that they're receiving. If farmers have a story to tell, we're not hearing it. You know, so really, what's the problem? What's the bigger issue? And that was my main point. I was like, listen, I understand why people in urbanized areas think the way that they do, because I'm that person. And for the past 18 years, I have been receiving that messaging. The problem is we're not receiving the other side of the story. So that kind of lit the fire, and I actually made it to the semifinal round that day. I don't know how that happened, but
I'm sure we can figure it out. Yes.
And my counselor at the time, he kind of set me aside. He's like, listen, he's like, I'm not trying to persuade you to change your major or anything, but it sounds like ag communications might be something that fits you and what you're passionate about. And you seem to have a knack for like talking. And yes, you can ask anybody in my family or my friends. Sometimes I don't know when to stop. But with that being said, it just kind of set the trajectory. I changed my major, and I got really, really involved with the Jordan College of Ag. And I just went gung-ho. Like, I got involved with everything, and I learned as much as I could. I started interning for organizations that didn't really have a strong communications platform. And that's kind of what I did. I just was like, okay, what do we have to work with? What's the goal here? What route do we want to take? So I became the first intern for the Jordan College of Ag, the only intern, because after that they hired someone full time. So
I guess that means you were very successful in getting them to realize they needed a better communication program.
Well, they needed someone full time, right? So I did that. I got involved with California Agriculture Today. I'm sure that's a big news platform now, and I helped kind of get their social media presence going. I did the same thing for California International Trade Development. And, you know, at the time, I was that student who just got really involved, and it opened up a lot of networking opportunities. So during my senior year, I was actually involved with Alpha Zeta as well, and they're a professional agricultural fraternity at Fresno State and throughout the nation. And someone approached me saying, hey, like, what are you gonna do after you graduate? And I was like, I don't really know. I loved my internships, but of course they're internships, and some of them were government funded, so there wasn't really much of a budget to kind of hire me on full time. And a colleague of mine was just like, you know, give me your resume. I'll pass it along to my dad, and he knows a lot of people. You never know what's going to happen. turns out this individual, his father is actually one of our accounting partners at B Sweet Citrus, and my resume landed on the desk of our former vice president. I got a call the next week saying, we'd like to interview you. I didn't know what the interview was for, but I went in there with a portfolio, and I said, this is what I can do. Do you need me? And that it just kind of steamrolled from there. They're like, yeah, I think we need a social media presence, but really with public relations and communications, you end up having your hands in many different projects. So it's definitely grown over the past 5 years. And, now I work directly with sales, and we have weekly meetings where we're talking about, like, what is it that we're trying to put out there? What's B2B marketing look like? What does B2C marketing look like? And, I think over the past 5 years, this department has grown from something very small and very niche focused into something that's much broader and, touches, human resources and sales and, just brand development. So it's definitely been a wild ride.
Well, I know that's why I love your story, because I hear a lot. There's some really important lessons in there. One of the first lessons I heard was go, do something different. You took a big chance to go to a college that you knew nothing about in a place that you had no experience with. And then you took a chance on doing a experience with Aggie Ambassadors, again, just because you wanted to get out there, meet some more people. Again, it wasn't necessarily that you thought you were gonna have a passion about it, but then you found a passion as a result. And I think that's one of the things we try to talk about with the students over and over again. Keep trying new things. Find new different activities that you may not even think you're going to really like, but try it. You never know. So I heard a lot of that in your story. And then I hear a lot about contacts, right? So you did all of these different internships, many of them probably for little or no pay, but that built your resume, it built your portfolio, and it also gave you contacts so that when you did get to the point when you were getting ready to graduate from college, you had some people to reach out to. Obviously, as you know, that's a big reason why we run the FARMS program. FARMS Advance is to provide students with these contacts that they then have when they get to maybe not even to the year 4, but before that, so that they can begin to reach out and find internships. So I really appreciate, kind of that story and then the ability to kind of find in your story those different places where you took a little bit of a risk, right? You got out of your shell, you did some different things, again, that you didn't think necessarily were going to lead to something in the future, but they did. And that, I think, is just one of those messages and those lessons that's really critical for all of us to take home. So
I'd like to add that a lot of people didn't understand what I was doing. Even before I moved to Fresno, I had a lot of teachers sit down with me and say, do you really want to move to Fresno? Like, I was, a really great student. If I wanted to go to a UC, I had the academics for that. It was strange for people to hear me get excited about Fresno State, to be quite honest. But I was very certain that was where I wanted to be. And then once I realized that I wanted to, get into ag PR and communications, I got the same questions. I'm like, are you sure? There's really not that many people that, have that position. Are you going to be successful? And I was like, yeah, yes, I am. I'm going to be successful.
I am.
I mean, I didn't know. You take it till you make it. And I was definitely faking it till I made it. And I haven't even really completely made it. But you're right. Meeting people along the way, getting involved and kind of putting yourself out there, I think is really important for any student of any age, just because you don't know who knows who. And it doesn't matter what industry you're getting involved in. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And, even if you're just someone who's brand new, doesn't really know anybody, I can guarantee if you have a lot of contacts, they're going to know somebody, or they're going to have the resources that's going to help you get to the next level. And I think as a student, I was really, really fortunate to be involved with a lot of organizations that kind of promoted that messaging. So for me, it didn't sound nonsensical to believe that. And, you know, I just kept asking everybody, or my mentors, like, hey, what would you do in this position? Or who do you know that I can contact? And I became that girl that just sends emails to everybody. So, you know, not everyone's going to bite, but I can guarantee you that if you do your due diligence, you're going to get the help that you need. And I think that's what's important. And sometimes when you're taking a risk, that can sound like, you know, unusual and like it's not going to happen. But I can guarantee you that when you hear success stories, especially for people in the communications industry, you'll hear that that's more common than not. You know, they all had a great set of contacts that helped that person get to the next level.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the things that I wanted to check in with you as well and ask some questions. Is you have done a great job with our farms program in the Fresno region, kind of giving some tips. Not so much tricks, because I don't think it's tricks, but those tips of kind of what should you be doing now, whether you're a high school senior or you're a freshman in college or whatever, and you want to get ready for whether it's applying for an internship, applying for a job, you know, in the future, you're maybe getting close to getting done with college. What kinds of things are some of your tips for that in preparing for those next steps?
Well, I would say that it's never too early to start working on your resume, your cover letter, and your portfolio. You never know when it's going to come in handy to have those items ready. So if students don't have those items yet, now is the time to get on it. And the second thing I would add to that is that there are resources both at the high school and college level that are there to help make sure that those items look polished and ready to go. And I cannot tell you how many times, even at the college level, I've seen a resume and really it looked sloppy. It didn't look good, kind of put together, weird spacing, weird fonts, and it's like, that's not really gonna fly. People have to remember that these documents really are the only impression that, you know, professionals are gonna see from you. So it's really important to spend time on those documents and make sure that they reflect who you are. And we are all professionals. That's what we're striving to be. So let's make sure that that mimics what the message that we're trying to put out there. So yes, talk to counselors, talk to people that are in those positions to kind of help edit those documents. And I've actually had former farm students reach out to me to look at their resume and say, hey, can you take a quick look at that and just let me know, does it look okay? What should I edit? And I'm happy to do that. And I've done it for several students now that I've met through this program. And, you know, I'll give them tips and little like, hey, let's maybe change the spacing here, or like, let's make fonts a little bit more uniform. So you never know what people are going to remember. So for myself, when I look at a resume, that's something that I'm looking at immediately. Also, having a portfolio, I can't tell you how important that is. One of the things I'll never forget is when I had my interview at B Sweet Citrus with our farmer vice president. I gave him my portfolio, and he said, out of the 20 years that I worked, no one has ever handed me a portfolio.
So what's in a portfolio? What's in a Monique Bienvenue portfolio?
Well, it was really cute. I had a Fresno State Bulldog in the front.
Of course.
I had to put that out there. But really, it was just work that I've done and was successful with throughout my 4 years or 5 years. I did the 5-year plan. My undergrad. And, you know, I think when students are taking the initiative to intern, to work on specific projects, to do research, all of that has an end result. And you could really promote that when you're applying for a position or for an internship. And so it was really simple. And there's different ways you can do it. But for me, I had a nice little binder categorized by the type of work that I had, accomplished, and just put some samples in there. If I had written an article that got published, or there was a report that was really important to me and really just successful, then I included it in there. So really what it does, it just accentuates what you already have on your resume, but it gives that backbone that you can't include on a resume because it's so limited with space. One of the things I was really proud of during my time at Fresno State is I was the student intern for the President's Commission on the Future of Agriculture. So when President Castro came onto the Fresno State family, he basically put together a group of ag professionals and said, hey, how can we make, Jordan College better? We are in the heart of agriculture, so we should be at the forefront of ag education. So I worked with several different people with the Farm Bureau and, alum, and we put together this nice report that I was really, really proud of. I was the only student on that. So that's something I included, but I wouldn't have been able to share that had it not been for the portfolio. And people can do that online as well. I know LinkedIn is really great. It's basically your online resume, but you can also take the extra step in having an online portfolio, which is basically just a website that kind of, gives more detail and URLs and things like that for the work that you've accomplished.
Yeah, I was going to say that that's one of the things that LinkedIn, if students haven't already signed up to be on LinkedIn, it's a great opportunity, like you said, to get started with that and connecting with professionals that you are meeting, either working with or meeting through the farms program or through the FFA or whatever, in other ways that you are meeting professionals. So you can get started with that. And I know that from my perspective, when, like to your point, when I hire somebody and that resume has typos in it, or it has weird spacing, or like you said, too many fonts. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that is the first thing and really the only thing that you have to look at and to gauge from. So it is so critical. I love that recommendation to get started on it now. Even if you just have the bare bones of it and you keep adding to it. And like you said, finding people to help edit it. All of your farms coordinators are certainly able to help, people like you, Monique, to help to give feedback. Maybe, your parents or friends of parents or other kinds of folks that you rely on as mentors, because now is the time to get that kind of information and get it down. Right. And to start putting things together for a portfolio. I mean, I think of, right now, great time to be able to do that. Order some binders online, start making some copies of things that you've done, whether it's with student activities, whether it's with your church, whether it's with FFA, whether it's something that you've done as an internship or class in college. Maybe there is something that you did as a student project even for a class that you're really proud of. So start to put those kinds of things together to show those examples of the kind of person you are, what you're passionate about, your skills, your writing skills. I know that is a huge, huge thing, especially for communication, right? Your writing skills, so critical. Letty just brought up your community action projects that you did for the farms program. Absolutely, perfect example of something you could put into your portfolios. So start to make a list right now. If you don't have a portfolio and you're thinking about, okay, what would go in there, right? Start to make that list and start to gather that information.
And I will say that I know with high school, you're so young in your career and the route that you're going to be on. It's okay to make changes. It's okay to edit. I can't tell you how many times I've edited a resume to fit the requirement for the job or the internship that I was applying for. When I was in college, I worked retail at Bath and Body Works, and I remember specifically making my resume fit the needs of a salesperson because that's what they want. They want someone on the floor who's going to be able to sell. But of course, that wasn't the same resume that I handed in to Be Sweet Citrus when I was applying for, in communications. So I will say that it's okay to make changes. I know a lot of us are like, but I have so many accomplishments and I don't know what to include. Well, think about the internship, think about the position that you're really applying for, and look at your accomplishments and say to yourself, okay, well, this one's going to be more specific to communication, so let's include that. You know what I mean? So it's okay to tailor it. And I think sometimes you forget that that's an option. And I have like 5 different
Yes. Oh, that's very true. You can tell the ones that have not been tailored, and you can also tell the ones that were for a very different kind of job.
Oh yeah. Like, and also don't forget to change it. I've seen that one where it's come to like my email inbox and it's like, oh, well, we're not, Target. So it says get a job at Target or whatever maybe. So those little details are very important.
They really are. So we've got just a couple more minutes. It was a quick half an hour, Monique, but I just wanted to, I know that B Suite also has an internship program. And I just thought we might want to close out by, you could just talk a little bit about that internship program and how you recruit for it and kind of when applications are due and all of those kinds of things. I want to give you that chance.
Yeah, so B Suite does have a wonderful internship program. Our human resources department does a wonderful job of keeping things nice, organized, and updated on our website. I believe we just added a new careers tab maybe within the past couple of years on our website. So if you visit that at www.bsuitecitrus.com, you'll always have an updated section that lists all of the positions that we know we need to fill. And that's going to include internships, that's going to include full-time and part-time positions as well. It'll also list all of the responsibilities and the skill set that we're looking for, which I think is really important to know. Sometimes people go into a position thinking it's one thing and they find out that it's not, especially with production agriculture. For example, if you're applying for a production management internship, it's important to realize that it's not a 9-to-5 job. I mean, you're running lines at one of the largest agribusinesses on the West Coast. So, just keep those things in mind. As far as how we recruit, we tend to, we're all over the Central Valley in terms of the students that we're looking at. That includes Fresno State, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly Pomona, Reedley, Sanger. I mean, really, we don't not look at anyone that's not in the Central Valley. And we encourage people of all majors and all interests to apply, because it's one of those things, like I've noted, you don't really know if you like it until you're actually in it. And if something sounds good, it doesn't hurt to try. There have been students that have come to us saying, hey, I don't really know if I want to work in production forever, but I want to get my feet wet in the agriculture industry, and I think this would be a really good opportunity. That's wonderful. And then we also have the candidate that's like, yeah, I really want to do this full time, and I just want to see what that's like. So regardless of the position, B Suite always has that internship period beforehand, because we want to make sure that whomever is applying for the position actually understands the requirements of the job and enjoys it. I think that's very important, especially in production agriculture, because like I said, it's not something that you can, I'm fortunate that, I get to sit at my desk and do my work, but that's not the case for those that are in the packing house. And everything is online now. So if there was a question that you needed to ask human resources, or if you wanted to submit an application, it's all there. It's very simplified, and you will hear from a representative at B Suite. So that is not going to be an issue. I know sometimes like, well, I didn't hear back. Well, that you don't have to worry about it, because our HR team is on it. They are wonderful. And
I know that is very much appreciated, because I know how hard it is to send things in and to never know if anyone's even received it, they've looked at it. So it very much appreciated the B Suite does that feedback, because it's really critical to the professionalism and that feeling of like, yes, my application is at least being looked at, right? And if there's possibilities to give feedback, that's always nice too. I wanted to, go ahead.
I want to note really quick, and even if you don't want to work at B Suite, or production ag is not necessarily the route you want to go down, that's totally fine. But myself, the human resources department, we're all young professionals. We've only been in, you know, our positions for 5 years or less. So we're all really passionate about helping students get to that next level. So even if you just want to ask myself or someone in HR to just, hey, can you take a look at a resume? Is this what production ag would want? We can definitely help out with that. And myself, Jasmine Reno, who's our HR manager, we do that on a frequent basis where, you know, we just look at it and, you know, give you some tips at what, you know, packing houses or production ag in general would look at. And I think that's really important because, again, you want to tailor that image, those documents to what you are applying for.
Exactly. The old informational interview or whatever we used to call it. But yeah, that's actually a perfect way, I think, to end today, because Monique, I know also you are very active on social media. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but if you know, I don't know if you're willing to share your email address for sure, and we can also get it out to all of the students. We do a follow-up email with the recording of this Zoom webinar, and so people can look at it, you know, later as well, and so we can share your email address if that's okay with you in that. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Monique. That went by really quickly. Maybe we'll get you back on to talk all about your social media tips, because I know that's also very critical right now.
I'm all about professional branding. So anytime that anyone would like to talk about social media, I'm all for it. I'm very passionate about that form of communication. So
great. That sounds like we're going to be going through May with these, so it's very possible that we'll bring you back for a reprise to talk about social media. But thanks again for your time this morning. It's really great to see you. Glad you're doing well. I'm assuming you're probably still doing your crazy running regimen. I don't even remember how many like miles a week you were running, but it was pretty
it's unfortunate. All the races, you know, they've been canceled. So right now I'm running for just my own personal health, and it's still great. It gives me an opportunity to go outside, and I will say allergy season is here, so
that's true.
That has been interesting with my runs and coming back with the stuffy nose, but yeah, definitely. And I will also say that for all the students who listen to this, it's very important to find a hobby that kind of, you know, relaxes you and that you enjoy. That's very, very important. Especially when you're in the midst of school or, you know, work. It's nice to have a little bit of an outlet. It's very healthy.
Well, great. Thank you, Monique. Have a wonderful Friday and weekend, and we will check in with you again soon, I'm sure. And thanks for all of your support of the Farms Leadership Program over the years.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And happy Friday.
Thank you, Monique.
Bye.
Happy Friday.
Bye.
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 Bye.